Hello, my witches and warlocks. Welcome back to Ramble on Rose. My name is Rosalee, and this is my dad. Say hello.
Hey everyone.
Now, Dad, do you have anything to say for yourself?
Well, we're still in Act 1 of the Scottish play.
Okay.
And remember, we're following theater superstition about the curse. So we're not going to mention the name of the title or the title characters. We'll just say the Scottish play, or the Scottish king, or for his wife, the Scottish lady. I read that we can also call him Mackers or Macbeth.
Hold up. Okay. If anyone runs a macaroon shop, name it Mackers, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a pretty good place.
What about Macbeth? You want to use that?
Macbeth, he sounds like a rapper. Like, this is how I would think it would be. My name's Macbeth, and you will see how gory a story can really be. Word.
All right. So we're picking up with scene 4. Do you remember what happened in the?
Actually, no, I don't.
Do you remember some of the characters? The
No.
witches, perhaps.
Do you want to refresh their minds?
The witches predicted that Macbeth would one day become king of Scotland.
And the other dude would have his kid.
The other dude, he has a name. It's Banquo.
Banquo!
He's the other general.
I'm sorry.
And so they've just privately said to themselves that it looks like the witch's prophecy is coming true, because Macbeth was just made Thane of Calder. I don't know do you know what a Thane is?
No. Do you want to search it?
Let's ask Alexa. Alexa.
Hold on.
Alexa.
Alexa, what is a Thane?
Fame has a couple of different uses. As a noun, 1. The state or quality of being widely honored and acclaimed. 2. Favorable public reputation.
Oh, okay. Thank
Right.
you. Now shut up. Into the sea.
All right. So it's still raining though. The battle is just over, and
my cat
and
looks
there's
like
there's
it
a
doesn't
flourish
want me.
because the king is about to come. So we need a trumpet flourish.
Okay.
Da-da-da-da-da. Thank you. Enter King Duncan Donuts. We'll call him Duncan.
Dunkin' Donuts! Yeah!
Lennox, Malcolm.
I personally like Krispy Kreme more. Which do you guys like? Dunkin' Donuts or Krispy Kreme?
Krispy Kreme.
Krispy Kreme is OG
But
Tops Dunkin' Donuts. But
so we'll call him King Krispy Kreme.
King Krispy Kreme! I like it,
Right,
and
so
my legs go everywhere.
His son's in attendance, Lennox, Malcolm, Donald Bain, and attendance. All right, King Krispy Kreme.
Yeah.
Is execution done on Calder? Are not those in commission yet returned? So remember, they were going to execute the former Thane of Calder because of his treasoning. Malcolm says, my liege, they are not yet come back, but I spoke with one that saw him die, who did report very frankly he confessed his treasons, implored your highness's pardon, and set forth a deep repentance. Nothing in his life became him like the leaving of it. He died as one that had been studied in his death to throw away the dearest thing he owed, and 'twere a careless trifle.
Trifle.
So,
Sounds like truffle, but I'm just gonna, yeah.
So he died basically begging for his life. King Krispy Kreme.
King Krispy Kreme.
There's no art to find the mind's construction in the face. he was a gentleman on whom I built an absolute trust. In other words, there was no way to tell that he was really a traitor. Um,
Then
enter,
why did you kill him?
well, no, he found out that he was consorting with the enemy.
Oh.
All right, now enter Macbeth, Banquo, Ross, and Angus.
You said Macbeth.
And he turns to the king, turns to them and says, "You're allowed in the reading of the play. It's just in the discussion outside of the play." And you just said Macbeth.
Shoot!
You just said it.
Dang it!
All right, pay the price. Pay the price. Come on, we don't have so much time. Get out.
Okay, I'm going.
Come on.
I'm going.
Spin around 3 times. All right, come on. Knock on the door. Let's go. You have to ask permission. Yes.
Did anyone at least see that?
And so the king says, "O worthiest cousin, the sin of my ingratitude even now was heavy upon me. Thou art, art so far before the swiftest wing of recompense is slow to overtake thee. Would thou hadst less deserved that proportion both of thanks and payment might have been mine. Only I have left to say, more is thy due than more than all can pay." In other words, what he's done in saving the kingdom during the battle, he can't. He owes him a great debt. Macbeth says, "The service and the loyalty I owe in doing it pays itself."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's
I mean, he literally could do anything he wanted.
He's saying, "Keep your money, king. Keep your money. Your Highness's part is to receive our duties, and our duties are your throne and state, children and servants,
State?
which do but what they should by doing everything
Hold on. He's
safe toward
literally
your love."
bluffing.
Yes, safe toward your love and honor. Yes, he's blowing smoke.
He's just giving rose-colored glasses
Duncan-
to this king.
And Duncan, King Krispy Kreme, says, "Welcome hither. I have begun to plant thee, and will labor to make thee full of growing, noble Banquo, that hast no less deserved, nor must be known, no less to have done so. Let me unfold thee and hold thee in my heart."
Heart.
Banquo says, "There, if I grow, the harvest is your own." So he's saying, I'm going to hold you in my heart. And Banquo says that he is going
Hold
to,
him in the heart.
he's going to grow, and whatever comes out of it, he's going to give to the king. So yes, they're really blowing smoke at this point. Duncan,
If I was the king, I'd be like, come on. I mean, I'm a king and all, but like, you don't have to go that far. And my cat's drinking my drink. So.
King Krispy Kreme replies, "My plenteous joys, wanton in fullness, seek to hide themselves in drops of sorrow. Sons, kinsmen, thanes," which we all know is now an honored person, "and you, whose places are the nearest, know we will establish our estate upon our eldest, Malcolm, whom we name thereafter as Prince of Cumberland, which honor must not be unaccompanied, invest him only, but signs of nobleness,
It's
like
literally
stars."
just a smoke room.
So,
Like everyone's blowing smoke at everyone.
well, he's rewarding everyone for the battle. But signs of nobleness like stars shall shine on all deservers, from hence to Inverness, and bind us further to you. And Macbeth, the rest is labor which is not used for you. I'll be myself the harbinger, and make a joyful the hearing of my wife and your approach, so humbly take my leave. And Duncan says, my worthy Cawdor, which he's now the Thane of Cawdor.
Thane of Cawdor.
And Macbeth says...
It sounds like it's Cawdor.
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 And then Macbeth says an aside, so he's talking to the audience, the Prince of Cumberland, this is a step on which I must fall down or else overleap. So in other words, he either needs that title or even something better. For in my way it lies. So this guy Cumberland is in his way. He says, stars, hide your fires. Let not light see my black and deep desires. The eye wink at the hand, and yet let that be which the eye fears when it is done to see. So he's already thinking dark thoughts. Duncan, also Krispy Kreme King, says, true, worthy Banquo, he is full so valiant, and in his commendations I am fed. It is a banquet to me. Let's after him, whose care is gone before us to bid us welcome. It is a peerless kinsman. And then a flourish as they exuent. Flourish. That's not much of a flourish.
Oh, you mean my trumpet.
Yeah.
That was not a trumpet. That was me trying to make a high-pitched noise.
So the king has decided to come to the Scottish king's house. And so scene 5, enter the Scottish lady alone, and she's reading a letter.
Does she even have a name, or is it just Scottish lady?
Yeah, it's just a lady. You're right. We never actually know that whether it's Mildred or Sally
lady. Hey, lady. Okay.
All right, and she reads the letter. We're about to come to the first soliloquy of the play.
Soliloquy.
Yeah, it's actually one of the more well known for women.
Well, I'm a woman and I don't even know it.
Well, we'll let you read it.
Okay.
She says, they meet me in, so she's reading a letter. They meet me in the day of success, and so this is what her husband is telling her. They met me in the day of success, and I've learned by the perfectest report they have more in them than mortal knowledge.
By the way, can we just look at this cat who literally was a demon, but is now
it's finally
an angel?
When I burned in desire to question them further, they made themselves air. So he's talking.
Air.
He's talking about the witches.
Oxygen that we breathe.
He's talking about the witches. Let's go. And they made themselves in the air, into which they vanished. And whilst I stood wrapped in wonder of it, came missives from the king, who all hailed me Thane of Cawdor, by which title before these weird sisters saluted me, and referred me to the coming of the time with hail, king that shalt be. So in other words, they also said that he would be king. This have I thought good to deliver thee, my dearest partner of greatness, that thou mightest not lose the dues of rejoicing by being ignorant of what greatness is promised thee. Lay it to my heart, and farewell. Glamis thou art, and Cawdor shalt be. So anyway, so she's read the letter, and then she's thinking about what could take place when the king gets there.
How?
And she says, Glamis thou art, and Cawdor, and shalt be what thou art promised. So you shall be king. Yet, she says, yet do I fear that nature is too full of the milk of human kindness to catch the nearest way.
So can we, I think...
No, we don't need to call it up. So the milk of human kindness is, because we're actually going to hear this...
Okay, so basically the milk of human kindness is a care and compassion for others, by the way. Just want to...
Right, but I think you actually put. I think you actually.
Put it into a simple term.
No, pointed out earlier that it actually is a reference to breast milk.
Yeah, but off camera, I was talking. We were talking. I was wondering. There's this.
I think the milk of human kindness is actually a reference to breast milk, but it's a metaphor to the kindness that comes from people toward other people. Bless you.
Please bless me in the comments. Thank you.
But anyway, what she's saying is that she's afraid that her husband is too full of the milk of human kindness, and that he won't have. Are you paying attention?
Yeah, I was still looking at it.
Yeah, we'll get to that word gall in just a second.
Yeah, I was looking at. He's got all these little tabs up, and I'm just like circling through because I'm his editor. Not really. He does all the editing.
So she's.
Can we just praise him for his editing, please?
So she's.
Thank you.
So she's worried that her husband will be.
Full.
Too nice a guy to kill the king. And she goes on to say, "Thou wouldst be great, art not without ambition, but without the illness and should attend it."
You know, usually the women in these Shakespeare things don't console killing people. You know,
right.
like if you think about it.
Yeah, just let me get down to the soliloquy, and you're gonna love it. The illness should attend it. What thou wouldst highly, thou wouldst thou holily, wouldst thou holily, wouldst thou not play false, and yet wouldst
if you
thou.
Were just so shocked about something, you'd say this. Holily. Okay.
And yet wouldst wrongly win. Thou didst have, great Glamis, that which cries, thou must do, and if thou have it, and that which rather thou dost fear to do, then wishes should be undone. Hie thee hither, that I may pour my spirits in thine ear, and chastise with the valor of my tongue all that impedes thee from the golden round, which fate and metaphysical aid does seem to have crowned withal. So she's going to speak to him and convince him that he needs to kill.
What was the word I was obsessed with in one book? That it was like the
I'm not sure.
Okay, just continue. That was a random thought. So next, I wish I remembered.
All right, here comes her big moment in just a second. Enter the messenger, and she says, "What is your tidings?" And
tidings we bring.
And the messenger says, "The king comes here tonight." And Lady Macbeth says, "Thou art mad to say it. Is not thy master with him? Who wert so would have informed for preparation." She's like, "The king's coming here? Who said?" And the messenger, "So please you, it is true. Our thane is coming." In other words, that her husband is coming. "One of my fellows had speed of him, who almost dead for breath, had scarcely more than would make up his message." And so the messenger came just out of breath and told them the news that the king is coming. And so Lady Macbeth says, "Give him tending," and then after he brings great news, and then after the messenger exits.
Yeah,
we're about. This is about to be the. Come on back up.
I'm coming.
Are you gonna read this?
Okay, nice.
Are you gonna read this? But let me set the stage. So this is the part in the play where the messenger is just left.
I'm almost on the microphone. Okay.
Yeah, the messenger is just left, and she's there by herself, and she walks. She's at the. She walks out onto the battlements of the castle and looks out over her kingdom, and is thinking about becoming a king, or becoming king and queen of Scotland, and so she changes. And at first, we'll get into this she'll actually speak out to the spirits. She asks them for speak, and that's.
Spirits everywhere.
And do you know what an apostrophe is?
No.
The apostrophe, like the punctuation mark.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was like,
Yeah. But that's not this.
what? Okay.
That's not this.
Oh.
An apostrophe in a play
Wait.
is actually a device for when the character speaks out to someone who's not actually present. One of the most famous apostrophes is in Romeo and Juliet, when Juliet goes out to her garden window and says, Romeo, wherefore out...
No, it's Romeo, oh Romeo, where art for thou, Romeo?
For art thou, Romeo.
For, I said,
Anyway, that's it, yes. But give it to me with feeling. Romeo, Romeo.
Let me get my sassy singer. Romeo, Romeo, where art thou, Romeo?
Much better.
Scene.
So this is it, but instead of being in love, Lady Macbeth all of a sudden turns evil. She goes like all Cruella de Vil.
Think of like the Grinch face where he's like,
yeah,
where his like smile rolls up. Yeah, that. Can you edit that in?
Which part?
The Grinch or like
No,
both.
we're not. I think your Grinch face is fine. All right, so here she starts, and I'll let you. So the first line is, "The raven himself is hoarse that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements." So she's looking down under the battlements of her castle. All right, here, pick up right there. Come. No, spirit, give me some feeling.
Come, you spirits that tend on mortal thoughts.
What?
What? What? Unsex me here!
I knew you couldn't get through it. Do you know what that means? What does she mean by unsex me here?
Is it changing of the gender?
Well...
By the way, I've already gotten the talk, but it's fine. I've already gotten the talk, but like...
Unsex me here, she means she does make me like a man instead of a woman.
That's what I said. I said transgender.
Yes, it is.
Transgender people.
It is. And read on, but the fundamental thing behind this is that what she's saying as you read this is that women are supposed to be gentle and kind and caring, and it's the men who are ruthless and, you know, fighters and warriors and so on. So that's
By the way, I take karate, so I am a warrior.
So that's what she means by unsex me here. All right, you going?
Unsex me here.
All right, come on, pick up. Let's go.
Okay, I'm sorry. Of dearest cruelty.
Direst cruelty.
Direst cruelty. Make thick my blood. Stop until... That's literally what it says. The accesses a passage to remorse. That no compunctions visiting of nature shake my fell purpose, nor keep peace between effect and it. Comes to a woman's... Come to my... I can't do it.
Say it.
I can't do it. Woman's breast. You could have easily said boobs, but and we talk
And take
my milk for hold on.
For
For
gall.
gall.
Gall. Do you know what gall is?
Nope. I was doing it now. Hold on. What? Gall. Bold, intruded behavior. And then
It's right. So it's bold behavior
Or-
like a man, or
the contents of a gallbladder bile.
it's bile. It's called bile, which is like a dark liquid.
Bitterness,
Yes.
resentment,
Right.
Right.
Bitterness. Right. So
Bile,
bile is bitter. Okay.
spleen,
So it's gone.
Sprite's in this.
Right. But that's enough. Look. All right. Look. Let me.
Viral
We're done.
poison.
Okay. So
But just
So
so,
we've
you
gone-
guys know, it's gall from breast milk. I don't know why.
right. So what we've gone is from the milk of human kindness, which is the the way you would like to think that people would think about treating other people, right? Giving them
is the good way.
right, or
don't bully.
Or to take my milk for gall, which means the exact opposite, to bring pain and suffering through death. And so it goes on to say, you
murdering
minister,
wherever your sightless substances you weigh on nature's mischief. Come, thick night, then pale
and Paul the
dark smoke of hell. That my keen knife see not the wound it makes, not heaven peep, though the blanket of the dark, to cry, hold.
All right, do you mind if I read that the way it's supposed to be written?
No. Whenever...
And take my milk for gall, you murdering ministers, wherever in your sightless substances you wait on nature's mischief. Come, thick night. And Paul means like the death shroud, like covering up a body when it's dead. And Paul in the dunnest smoke of hell, that my keen knife sees not the wound it makes, nor heaven peep through the blanket of the dark to cry, hold. So in other words, striking blindly at someone without worrying about the consequences.
That's a piece of garbage.
Enter Macbeth. And then she turns to him. Great Glamis, worthy Calder, greater than both, by all hail hereafter. The letters have transported me beyond the ignorant present, and I feel now the future in the instant. Macbeth says, my dearest love, Duncan comes here tonight.
It was Krispy Kreme.
And then Lady Macbeth says, and when goes hence? So she's already dropping the clue that he's coming tonight. When's he going to go? And Macbeth, tomorrow as he purposes. And Lady Macbeth says, oh, never shall oh, never shall sun that morrow see. Your face, my thane, is a book where men may read strange matters. To beguile the time, look like the time, bear welcome in your eye, your hand, your tongue, look like the innocent flower.
The innocent broken flower.
But be the serpent under it. He that is coming must be provided for, and you shall put this night's great business into my dispatch. So she's saying, let me handle everything, which shall to all our rights and days come give solely sovereign sway and masterdom. Macbeth, we shall speak further. Lady Macbeth, only look up clear. To alter favor ever is to fear. Leave all the rest to me.
Oh, and also, fun fact.
And they both exude.
Gall is sometimes confused with gall. The G-A-U-L. But this one is G-A-L-L. Like a ball, but with a G.